Howdy folks and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another tutorial episode of War in the East 2. The topic of this tutorial is of a paramount importance because it can either, let's say, dictate your brilliant victories or could be behind your most shameful and disastrous defeats. The reason is very simple, because understanding how rail repairs work and is the key for any successful campaign, because railways are behind all the bulk of the logistics, and the bulk of the logistics is behind any successful advance of your armies. So let's dive straight into the topic. There are two types of railway repairs that can be done. One is manual and one is automatic. Let's start from the manual one. Both factions, the Axis and the Soviets, do have specialized Army Corps HQ-like units, which are dedicated units for dedicated to the repair of railways. These units are called FBDs, the Feldeisenbahndirektion, the director of railway engineers for the Germans, or the NKPS for the Soviets. Don't ask me what NKPS means, because I forgot about it. The Romanians do have the first Romanian railroad command that is here, and that it disbands, I think, on turn 10 or 11. So in August 1941, and as you can see, all these units they are Army HQ like units, and they do have the engineer symbol here. These are the most precious units that you have to protect at all costs, and you have to make sure that these units are always rested and well fed. If we look at the basic info box of the unit, we see that the only difference between the canonical Army HQ are the lack of munitions and the presence of these two abbreviations, RRC and RRV. RRC is the railroad repair capacity. It basically indicates whether or not this unit can repair a damaged railway section in one hex. Yeah. The RRV is more of an indication of the total railway engineer assets that are present within the FBD unit. And this is important to keep in mind, because an RRV value below, let's say, between 4 and above is fine. It means that this unit has enough railway engineering assets to repair one railway section by spending one movement point. If it gets below 4, so 3, 2, or 1, you will need to invest way more movement points in repairing single railway tracks. Railway tracks is within a single hex, which makes sense, because the least the least engineers you have, the more time the remaining ones will have to spend to repair a section of the railways. And to visualize which sections of the railways are in need of repairs, well, you can access the information by pressing R or clicking on this button here. And you see that in red there are all the railways that are damaged and not yet connected to the railway network. Generally, every time that you advance into enemy territory, the railways will always be damaged, and they will have a 100% damage. The only exception in this case is the network of the Baltic states, so Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, because, like historically happened, the local population will prevent the Soviets from destroying the railways upon retreating, and therefore it can happen that some hexes will retain their railways intact. But having seen that there are these railways here that need to be repaired, to manually repair the railways, you have to click here and you have to bring the unit on the first damaged railway hex containing railway, yeah. And you see here now you have this RRC that has turned into 1, which means that if you either press R or if you click here, the unit will spend 1 movement point and will repair the hex, the railway in this hex. So we can click it, and you see now the unit has lost 1 movement point. And if we now go on the railway mode, we see that now there is this orange color and the number 1 inside. This means that in the next logistics phase, this railway section here will be repaired and of course linked to the railway, to the national railway network. Now it is important to say that the FBD/the NKPS can only repair railways if they are adjacent to an hex containing an already repaired railway section. So, which means that you cannot bring the FBD one here and then repair this one here. You always have to go consecutively. You start from the ones that is already linked, and then you proceed. You carry on with the railway repair. And yeah, we can just click it again, and okay. So this is how the manual repair works. Now, if we have a look at the advanced unit info box, well, we can get some more information about the elements composing this unit. These support elements are the most important ones, because you want to have always, ideally, 1000 support elements ready, and you want to reduce their fatigue to 0, basically, because the lower the ready elements are and the higher the fatigue will be, the lower the RRV value will get. And as I said before, the lower this value gets, the more expensive it will be to repair railway sections in terms of movement points. And then the other elements present in the manual railway repair units are these. These units can only receive or can only have attached construction battalions. And amongst the construction battalions, there are not only the so-called road construction battalions, which, by the way, are just a more fancy way to describe the construction battalions. Even if they have the road prefix, they don't really fix roads. They behave like normal construction battalions. But for the Axis, any construction battalion that has the OT, which stands for Organisation Tot, or RAD, which stands for literally the Reichsarbeitsdienst, or the Working Detachment of the Empire, which I know sounds weird, but that's how I would translate it from German. These, the OT and the RAD, are the units that can also repair railways in the automatic mode. Why am I telling you this? Well, because the FBD and NKPS units do work at the highest efficiency with just 5 construction units. So what I highly recommend you guys, as soon as you start a campaign, you select your FBD units and you pick one of these 4 and you attach it to any other HQ, because in this way you will have still 5 construction battalions here, but you will have one extra that could automatically repair the railways in the next logistics phase. And so I think, yeah, this is oh, sorry, one more thing I forgot about FPD and NKPS units. I mentioned this in the depot tutorial, but I think it's fine to repeat it. Yeah, to repeat this. These units do have the power of attracting more freight towards the depot on which they are standing, had they not moved in the previous turn. So if you park your FPD unit on a depot and you leave it there for one turn, in the next logistics phase, this FPD1 unit will claim more freight, even though you may have a line here of priority for depot. And this can be very handy, and I like this. I like this as a compromise between railway repairing and freight kind of receiving, because it can be very handy when you are like prioritizing one axis of advance. Like, I don't know, if you're pushing towards Leningrad and you want to prioritize the freight towards Army Group North, you can just park the FPD-4 on the depot or of Pskov or Luga, which is here, and yeah, more freight will be available for ideally for the surrounding depots here that are fueling the advance of Army Group North. And yeah, that's all what I had to say about the manual repair, and we can now talk about the automatic repair, which is done by the OT and ROD construction battalions. For the Romanians, exactly, the Romanians do have the rail prefix, and the same is true, I think, yeah, for the Soviets. The Soviets either have the rail construction or the RR construction battalion. These are all units that can automatically repair the railways during the next logistics phase. Now, OT, ROD and rail construction battalions are normally attached at the level of HQ units. We can see here that the 2nd Panzer Group has none. Great, I picked the wrong one. The 4th Army does have the 17th OT and the K250 ROD construction battalions. What do I mean that in the next logistics phase they will repair the railways? Well, let me briefly load one save game and I will show you. Okay, so here we are in the ground phase of the 2nd turn, and as you can see on the map, there are plenty of these units with the engineer symbol and no movement points. These are all of these construction battalions that are allowed to repair railways. What happens? It happens that in the logistics phase, all these units which are attached to HQs are sent out, and we can see better here, they are sent out and they will immediately go to an hex adjacent to an hex containing a fully repaired railway section, like this one here. And here you can see the example that I mentioned before in the Baltic section, in the Baltic region. You see that most of the railways are intact. When they are yellow, it means that they are not yet connected to the national railway network. They will go over this hex and they will start the repairing of the railways, which of course will be completed in the next turn. Where do they go is very simple, because they will always check for an X with a repaired railway section. But you can kind of influence the, let's say, the region of railways that you want to prioritize for repairs. The AI doesn't really care about let's say, repairing a specific section of railways. The AI is just random, and the way you can influence the AI by doing this is to attach the construction battalions to specific HQs. As you can see here, we have the 61st OT battalion that officially belongs to Army Group South, and from Army Group South it ended up here. Now if you want, you can send it back forcibly, by force. I highly recommend you guys not to do it, otherwise this section of the railways will not be repaired. But the reason of why this battalion ended up here is because it's still within range of Army Group South, which is now 41 out of 45. Which means that, let's say, if you want to prioritize your advance against Leningrad, you should ideally attach most of your railway construction units to the, I don't know, to the army, to the 4th Panzer Group, or even to the single corps attached to the 4th Panzer Group. Because if you attach these construction units to an army HQ level, they will repair everything within a 15 hexes radius, while if you go at the army level, they will repair everything within a 45 hexes radius. So by attaching these units to different HQs, you can kind of trick the AI into focusing the automatic repairing of the railways within specific sections of the front. And no worries, even if you move the HQ during your next ground phase, in the next logistics phase, these units will be automatically moved within the maximum range of the HQ to which they are attached. The last bit of information that I think is also important to understand this is that the construction battalions will not cooperate with the FBD units. Now, here is why. Exactly, so here I have the FBD 3, and the way this happens is that, first of all, the AI will send out the construction battalions to damaged sections of the railways. They will start the reparations of these railways, and only then the previously, let's say, kind of repaired or fixed railways that were manually fixed by the FBD will be repaired. What does it mean? It means that these automatic construction battalions will never cooperate with your FBD. So you never see a construction battalion repairing the railway in front of an X repaired by the FBDs, because first these will go out and then these will be repaired. So always keep this in mind when you are planning your railway repair mode. And also, one important information: if you plan to activate the AI to manage your depot, first of all, repair as many railways as possible with the FBDs and then activate it. Because if you end up, I don't know, like in, let's assume that you end up in Kobrin or in yeah, maybe here is more. Yeah, okay, so let's assume that you end up in Lvov, where you have a level 6 railroad. If you manage to link this railway section here before activating the depot management AI, the AI will automatically create a depot here. Otherwise, if not, it won't create anything because it won't see, because it will see that this section here is not yet linked to the national railway network. And yeah, I think that's all that I had to say in regard to railway repairs. Yeah, as always, thank you very much for watching, guys. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. And yeah, we're getting close to the end of this tutorial series, but we are not done yet, because in the next tutorial we will combine 3 topics which in my opinion are kind of linked together, which are theater boxes, events, and the replacement, actually the reinforcements schedule. Until then, my friends, I wish you all the best. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you all in the next tutorial.